Wednesday, August 9th, 3:23 a.m. I've been down for about a week and a half. There was a oxyacetylene torch incident. Long story short, very minor fourth, but very severe second and third degree burns cover about 80% of this hand. Like I said, I'm in 12, 13 days healing now, something like that. Sleep pattern's all screwed up. It's just been one hell of a fucking past week and a half. But anyway, I apologize to y'all. It's been a minute since I put anything out there. Progress has kind of slowed to a halt because I'm literally down hand. But 2 days ago, I stripped all my bandaging off and did my normal daily wash down, antibiotics, soap or antiseptic soap and saline solution cleansing, and decided not to wrap it entirely because burns are pretty tricky. And if you get it wrong, your skin will grow back so tight you'll actually lose mobility in your hands. So for me, that's a pretty terrifying thing, to not be able to use a hand or to have a hand injury and basically not be able to overcome that hand injury. So 2 days ago, I stripped all my bandaging down and I started to just lob on literally pounds of bacitracin, and I'm running a nitrile glove with a non-stick and zero form around any of the severe third degree burn portions, just to help non-stick issues there. So over the past 2 days, I've been gaining mobility back in my left hand. Doctors stated I was not going to have any mobility in my hand for a minimum of 3 to 1 month. 3 weeks to 1 month. Well, now that's what I got to say about that. And I got pretty much fingertips to fingertips. I can do a 80% closed fist. I can't do this yet, but I can do this. The skin is really, really tight. It's really, really raw. It's really, really burned. But so that's just a quick update on what's been going on and why I really haven't been putting much out there. But I'm good. I'm supported by so many loving and caring people that just will go above and beyond for me, and I feel blessed about that. So I couldn't be more grateful to all of those people. So thank you for that. On another note, aside from this mess, I've managed to execute all of my CRC3, which is Class 3 Research Committee paperwork. It's a boatload of paperwork that you have to submit and abide by many guidelines to fly a Class 3 vehicle, which is what that is. As of yesterday, I secured my COA, and I am that close for 100% approval. I'm just waiting on a couple confirmation emails, so on and so forth. But as it stands now, I have a COA for 325,000 feet AGL, 329,000 feet MSL, with launch site coordinates, basically Black Rock Desert. So this was a big hurdle for me to overcome with help. I did have a little help. My father helped me out with some of the typing because I was literally like hunting and pecking, and my hand has been in a position like this for weeks now. So my paperwork is all submitted and 99.95% approved. I did get all of my machined and 3D metal printed main injectors. They have all arrived. All of the 5-axis CNC machined injectors, they're absolutely gorgeous, and I'm gonna, after I finish this, I'll flip the camera around and I'll show you what I got going on injector wise. I mean, it's beautiful work, 5-axis CNC machined. I got a rotary Vortex injection set up that I cannot run for this flight, but plan to do some testing and destructive testing on. For this specific 2023 version 2.1 flight, I am going to be running the standard injector. Prior to this incident, I did get a handful of work done. Unfortunately, I did not get much of it documented, so what I'm going to try to do is backtrack, and it may be just photos of what I've achieved in that period of time just prior to this occurring, but I'll be more than happy to, you know, share that with y'all. So just a quick update. I'm good, still kicking it. Would never wish this on anyone. 80 80% third degree burns covering your entire palm and inside all of your fingers, backside of your fingers, is extremely painful. So that's why I haven't been putting out videos for the past week and a half. I've just been trying to recoup. To be completely honest, I'm going absolutely like insane. I feel like a locked animal in a cage, and it's extremely frustrating for me. So again, my sleep pattern's all screwed up. It's probably 3 something in the morning right now, which is actually kind of nice because it's only 88 degrees in here instead of like 111. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna get this flipped around. I'm gonna take some photos and some video of the injector assemblies we got back from machining. It's just machining that I'm personally not capable of doing on a manual or an engine lathe that needs to be 5-axis. And we'll go from there. So just again, a quick update. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone out there that even watches my videos. So let me get to it. I'm gonna get a bunch of stuff, try to throw it all together for you, and try to get back to, you know, making a video about how to build and assemble and fly this thing. Just want to do a quick overview of the injectors that have been 5-axis CNC machined and 3D metal printed. So this is a complete test batch of just what a 3D metal printer is capable of in 304. Just centered, rough, really not pretty or nice. It is functionable. It was really a test run, test batch, really just to test out, see what we'd get back in return. This injector here is the original injector that my mentor passed down to me to use. So this is the original standard R10,000, 200,000, 64 Newton second, 20.1 second long burn motor. This is main body. This is the throat, or the choke, you could call it. This is your piston, and this is your end cap. These two right here are the Sorry, my fucking hand is just absolutely killing me. These two sets right here are the 5-axis CNC machine, upgraded, revised, and modified version of the original Injector. Minor changes between the standard Injector and the revised standard Injector. Very minor changes. And when I say minor changes, I mean minute. Added O-ring boss right here. Very simple, stupid little things. Actually removed, I don't know if you guys can see in there, but we removed this machined portion in there that is machined in there for nichrome wire ignition to ignite the black powder chip. That's just not my style of doing things. That was my mentor's style of doing things. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. I just choose to do it differently, and either way will work. So the new version of the R10k Injector has a bunch of pretty cool little, well, they're pretty cool little simple stupid modifications, I guess you could say. So number one, we've done away with that nichrome wire raceway, you could call it. We've changed the piston geometry slightly. So for those whom are not familiar with this style injection, this is basically a pyro valve. That's in simplest forms what it is. I'll explain how it functions here in a moment. Same deal, choke or throat, revised. This is 304, this is 316. The next batch will be Inconel. This is the knockdown cup, and this is all of the pieces to assemble the standard Injector. One of the key modifications that was made to this Injector versus the original style Injector, and I know it's difficult to see in there, but there is one O-ring boss, okay? Just one O-ring boss to make that seal against this piston. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I've seen them leak. They can trash a launch. And if you start leaking during the fueling process and you're 28 minutes into fueling 200 pounds of liquid nitrous oxide and the bitch starts leaking, well, in that point, in all honesty, you got two options. And it depends on where you are and who's overseeing operations. Most likely you're gonna have to scrub and dump, which is going to take a long time. You're going to have to rip the whole bottom end apart, go through, put in a new O-ring, pressure test, make sure everything's good, yada, yada, yada. Start the fueling process. Basically start the entire launch procedure checklist all over. So, excuse me one second. Sorry about that, guys. This shit really freaking hurts. A lot. So, shit, where the fuck was I? Okay, so one of the main modifications that was made when we had these new Injector versions manufactured, 5-axis CNC machined, was we changed that O-ring boss, not in a diameter range, but in a width-wise. And it'll allow me to now install a ribbed or a shit, what's the name of these things? Sorry about that. Basically, it'll allow me to run an O-ring in, rather than a round O-ring, it'll allow me to run an X profile O-ring, or it'll allow me to run a round profile O-ring, or it will allow me to run a silicone slightly larger diameter rectangular O-ring. So I chose to start testing with the X-Profile O-ring with the PTFE. I think it's PTFE. I think it's PTFE. With this PTFE backing ring. And believe it or not, this stupid, simple little backing ring makes the world of a difference on an O-ring. It backs that O-ring. So, standard injector right there. I'm gonna shift one more over. This is 5-axis CNC machined Vortex injection. There's multiple benefits to Vortex injection, and there's multiple reasons why I am not going to run Vortex injection on this launch. Number one, I have not static tested this specific Vortex injector. So the main difference between this upgraded standardized injector and this Vortex, this turbine Vortex injector, is we've now machined this body with its new O-ring boss to accept a PTFE backing ring and any O-ring of my choice within a -022 range. And I know there's a little bit of variability on a -022 range O-ring. Excuse me guys, my hand is just killing me. So one of the huge differences between these two is this is Vortex induction or Vortex inducing. So if you look at this knockdown cup, okay, it's just a round cup. This round cup slips over this round body, like so. And when that piston drops open, you now have your nitrous oxide flowing through your orifices. Pretty straightforward. With this Vortex injection body, this hole pattern has now been offset. So this is an offset radial hole pattern. And we've done CFD analysis, and I'm yet to do flow testing because of this has really inhibited my past couple weeks. So this has an offset radial hole pattern. So when that piston drops, it will induce a severe vortex, not only out of the body, but out of the knockdown cup also. So if you can look at that knockdown cup, you can see how it's grooved. So on top of that, the standardized aerospike type pyro piston has now been replaced temporarily. I machined a brass piston that I have tested in a different injector. But on top of that is a turbine vane. Sorry guys, a little painful here. Okay, so this is a precision vane that has been balanced. The only thing that I had to do when it got to me was actually press a shaft and machine a bore to a ridiculously tight tolerance. And I need, when I do a full assembly on this, I'll put oil in there, and I actually will not be able to push it down into the body of this piston because the tolerance is so freaking tight. But that is indeed the turbine on the Vortex injector. So let me just do a quick rundown before I do that, I just also want to note the reduction throat or choke throat has two purposes. It can choke the inlet of the injector, which will in turn reduce your flow rate of nitrous oxide, which will reduce power and increase burn time. So depending on the vehicle and what you're trying to achieve, you can choose to use or not use. But when you go to a Vortex injection, I had to take this reduction throat or insert and machine the ID of it so it would accept this turbine. And this freaking hand is like useless, but this does fit, and it is a tight fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna leave the camera rolling, and I'm gonna do the best I can to assemble this standard one here, just so y'all can see it. So first off, god damn it, that hurts, man. First off, we got our X profile O-ring in there. We do have a PTFE backing ring behind that. We're gonna go ahead and rotate the body. We're gonna insert our choke, and I do not have an O-ring on this yet. This is just for explanation purposes only. So there's our choke. Bear with me here. All right, so we got our choke in there now. We're gonna take our piston. And you could hear that drop and lock. And it doesn't just fall out. I can't blow on this and make it fall out or anything of that nature, but just let me show you the difference. So this is the modified, newest version of the standard injector. And now this is just the standard injector with a rectangular -022 O-ring in it. Same piston, same dimensions. You can if you don't take my word for it, let me know. I'll ring it out on the calipers, and then I'll ring it out in a mic. So I'm gonna take the old standard injector and put that piston in there. All right, you ready? I don't like that. It'll seal, but I don't like that. I don't like to chance anything. It's 100% sealed, okay? But I don't like it. Doesn't give me that warm, fuzzy feeling in my stomach. So that has been addressed, and that makes me feel a lot better. Again, I'm just gonna state it again. You know, this is a first run of 5-axis CNC parts. Note, from China, okay? Dirt cheap. And the quality is like mind-boggling. I'm a machinist myself. I'm ADD, OCD, handicapped with my left hand right now. And the quality of this and the cost to quality of this part is just mind-boggling. I don't understand how it can be done so cheap. I mean, if someone just asked me to do the work holding portion on how to hold this, it would probably cost $300. And that's pretty much in a nutshell what all of this cost. You know, I'm just giving you a ballpark here. So anyway, our piston is in our injector. It does not come out. I really hope it doesn't, because if it hits my hand, it really is gonna hurt and I'll scream. Actually, it hasn't moved. So then, on top of that, it gets a black powder chip. All right, let me get one of these out here. Bags are really hard. They're really fucking difficult. So just bear with me here. God damn it, man. So these are black powder chips. These chips start as regular granular black powder. I believe it's 4FFFFG black powder. These are pressed using 100 tons and a press die. And the die itself is 100% non-ferrous. All safety precautions are taken when you're pressing. It's a little sketchy. Don't do it at home. Don't do what I do. I know what I'm doing. So these chips are now pressed to the specific size and diameter that they need to be to sit in this cup. I might have grabbed the wrong bag. These may have been test batch cookies or chips. Let's just see here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I grabbed the wrong bag of chips. Anyway, at least it gives you the point. It shows the principle, what I got going on here. Yeah, that one kind of works. So now you have a 100% fully assembled injector pyro valve. You add your knockdown cup. And now this will be threaded into the bottom of the R10,000 bulkhead, giving you a main injector controlled with a time delay fuse to a black powder chip. So once this fuse lights, it hits this chip. This chip's gone in the blink of an eye. Chip's gone. Nothing holds the piston up. 1,000 PSI, pushing down on that. Piston drops. Injector opens. Nitrous flows. You've achieved full ignition. 4,500 pounds of peak thrust. Sustained 2,500 pounds average. 20.1 second burn. Off she goes. So my next step here is I'm gonna get the correct batch of chips and go get all my PPE on and drill my holes to insert my time delay fuses. And I know you may have noticed I got a handful of these things right here, but when you drive across the country to go to launch something and you only do it once a year, you want to make sure you got double, triple, and quadruples of the stupidest things, because I promise you, in the middle of the freaking Black Rock Desert, you're not going to find a damn thing. So that's my next step. That's what I'm going to go get teed up to do. On that note, these chips what I do is I find center on these chips, and I will not use a Starrett center finder for one sole reason. If you look at my Starrett rule, I have done this before, it has completely annihilated my rule. And unfortunately, this is not a cheap rule. So I'm gonna have to spend an hour one-handedly cleaning this thing up. So I've noted that. It's a good experience. Cheap plastic center finder. This is not gonna be easy with one hand. Center finder, scribe. Gave me a line. God, I really hope I'm somewhat in frame. Scribe line. Now I got center of that chip to drill. So I'm gonna go get all my PPE on, and I'm gonna get these drilled, and then we'll carry on.